And the news for May the 7th, 2014. Well, we know that the boy in Richmond who raped an 11-year-old girl and beat up her brother who was trying to keep the predator off of him is a 16-year-old boy who had mental issues, and of course he hit, when he was younger, just back in 2011, a boy over the head with a hammer, and one of the boys in the neighborhood, as was revealed to Channel 6, showed the scar there on the back of his head to prove it. Why did that boy not get mentally committed to an institution back then? Lord only knows. But now he has been taken off the street now for good, and he won't be able to hurt anybody for a while, for a long time. And so that is good. But also we want to talk about, our government. What's going on with it? Well, we do believe that the Russia and Ukraine conflict, I'm going to say it's a full out-blown war yet, but it looks like it's heading that way. It's really a distraction to what is the bigger picture of what's going on in the world that we live in today. Because what they want to do is implode the dollar and to collapse the economy. That's right, I said that right. Collapse the worldwide economy and replace it with this new world global nonsense order stuff. And that's what they're trying to do. As a matter of fact, today there was a deadly assault on our speech, freedom of speech. And that means, when we've been talking about this, Alex Jones has, Drudge has, and other media outlets have been talking about this who are true media, reality media is what I say. But, we've been talking about this, and, for weeks, and now they have made an announcement today that they are trying to introduce and try to bypass this law about bringing in Internet 2 that will be heavily regulated and taxed and tracked on everywhere you go. It'll be tracked. It is not for security, even though they're trying to spin that as such. Google actually acts like they're for your speech, but actually they're largely, in part, want this to happen. So that, because they're putting so much money into this Internet too. And of course, once that goes in, your speech is yet to follow. Meaning you won't have the freedom to express. We won't be able to do this podcast, and lots of other stations on the air that are on FM and other frequencies will go dark because of the new radio initiative that they're trying to put in place to control that and only approve those who they think that are of the New World Order's agenda that will be able to say what they want. Also, they're trying to run businesses out of business with so much regulations and taxation in America that a lot of businesses in the next 5 to 10 years will not exist, to cease to operate. And anything that's 503 charter will actually be losing their charter. And if you claim to be a media outlet, you won't have it because they'll take that away from you, and they'll also cause a lot of trouble to you if they think you are against the establishment. If anybody says that Obama is a fraud and should go be locked up, yeah, I think he should be. If he's done these things, he should be. But anyone that really says this, could have a lot of scrutiny from the government. And so the FCC is going personally after Drudge and media outlets like InfoWars, because they don't want this news to get out. And they're very scared, and that's the only way that they'll be able to do this if this passes. That's why everybody everywhere who likes freedom of speech needs to really report on this really hard and get this exposed of what the corruption of what they're doing, so that this does not happen in America, where it has already happened in a lot of other places because people just didn't do nothing and they just sat down and just said, well, let's give in and curl up in a ball because we're pussies. That's pretty much what they did, cowards. And so that's why that happened in Europe and other places in the world, and that's what's going to happen here. People do the same thing. Shrivel up and die made fatality, because you really will die. If they get their way, they'll just come in there and shoot you and rape your children and your wife and husband, whatever they want. If they think they get away with this, so they're going to come in there and get you too. So, you got to stand up against this, folks, because this is where the line in the sand needs to be drawn. You take away your freedoms, your speech, your rights, what you have to say, what you think, being largely censored by the FCC on the internet, on the airwaves, If you say anything about China's communism and them being communists and their agenda and role, if you produce a movie, it won't get released. How about that? Yeah, how about that? Yeah, because they largely are in control of the productions of what happened here in the United States now, and in a lot of places of the world. They own a lot of the movie rights and studios, which is all borrowed by design by the New World Order, so they can greatly control what is produced versus what is not. So, that being said, that's why the nation, the United States, is not mentioned in there, because it will be destroyed from within as well as from forces that are outside of our country that will destroy us. A combination of both is what will tear this thing to cinders if we don't stand up and do something about it starting today. And I don't mean blowing up buildings and burning down cities. No, that's not even rational, that's not even logical, and it sure isn't civilized behavior. But yes, it could come down to that if that's the last resort. At least we'll know one thing, if it does come to that, we'll know who the good police are versus the goon police, or the bad police is what I call them. The ones that, and then of course a few days ago they said there was somebody going around the area posing as a police officer, stopping people and demanding them all their money in their wallet. They're serious. If you didn't give them their money, they were going to lock you up. And they're saying that they were posing at them, but yet people were saying that these people were really the police that were doing this. Some police were actually doing it. Not people trying to pose at them, but they were really doing this. And if there is somebody posing, then we need to stop that person and get them arrested and not allow them to continue to bank on people to get their money, to rob people on the highway. Because that means if they could do that, the sky's the limit what they could do. They could rape children. They could rape, wives. They could rape teenagers. They could rape anybody if they just want to do that. If they're able to do that, who knows, God, what else they can do. So this has got to be stopped quick. We can't allow police or police imposters to do these things. There is someone doing it. We need to get on that. Oh, as far as the lights on a section of 64, they say they looked into the problem. They said there was a problem with one of the fuses, and they've replaced it. And so the lights around the Richmond on that stretch of 64 that was mentioned on WTVR Channel 6, if you want to refer to that, why it was dark for the last week is because the storm in the area blew out a fuse. Now they fixed it, and they say the lights should be back on tonight in that area where people were complaining that it was not on. So that's good. Now, also, do you like the prices at the store? They're getting ready to implode the dollar, which is going to make inflation skyrocket. And many people, when the economy collapses, most people will be, by standards now, they think they're well off, but they'll be poorer than dirt once this happens. So you need to make plans about your finances now before this happens. You might have a timetable between 2 and 3 years from now, but you need to really make plans because they are really escalating these things on all fronts, to try to establish and debacle the system and take down freedom to usher in New World Order and foreign troops and even martial law in the United States. It is really happening. I mean, they have the bills there on the desk, and Obama has signed some of them already into law. And they don't take effect yet till about 2020 or so, or sooner, depending on if they can manufacture a false flag or some kind of manufactured made-up crisis to initiate these things earlier, which is what we fear here at the Civil Media and other places also have stated this, like InfoWars and Drudge, that they could do that if they're very well to unleash his full power, so they can have total control and also control of your family and your children and everything else. So you need to be aware of that, Christians. And of course, this is in the news. Subscribe down below. Tell us what you know. Subscribe down below. In the news. What? In the news for May the 7th, 2014. Well, more news coming up for you tomorrow on May the 8th. See you later. Make sure you subscribe down below. Subscribe. I'll see you later.